Hello, everyone. Today we are doing another Lord of the Rings discussion. Full spoilers. Lord of the Rings is pretty iconic. You probably know the story, so we're not going to talk about Return of the King too much, but we'll probably mention the movie and the events and probably the end of the story in some sort of context at some point. So I'd recommend knowing something about the series before watching this, but this is our second discussion in the Lord of the Rings series where we are now discussing the Two Towers. This is book two, probably my favorite one, just on average from chapter to chapter. I want to welcome back my friend Colin. How are you doing?
Yo, how's it going?
I'm doing great. I'm very excited because this is probably like my fourth read of this series. I think I said that last video, but it bears repeating. And I was telling you about this before the recording, but this was the first time that I really saw each character as like a real human being. And just the choices they made, like it really popped out to me this read. Just how like human like they were. But also the larger than life because they are these, as you said, these mythological kind of myth characters, folktale type of characters, larger than life. And I just really loved how in your review you talked about how each character kind of represents a virtue. And I wanted to kind of start off our discussion with that because I really loved your thoughts with that. And I want to kind of just revisit that. Let's talk about that more. Like, what was your favorite character again? And like, more about that.
I had a couple of favorite characters, honestly.
Hmm.
And like if I were to break it into um like sections, like you have like book three, book four. I would say book three, my favorite was probably King Theoden, which really surprised me.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then
Yeah.
book four was probably Faramir. Even though he wasn't in it for very long. Like, and it's because of the whole virtue thing, because of just like I loved how they set that up. Like you read the Anvil of Ice, that first Winter of the World book,
Yeah,
and
it was
like one of my
awesome.
favorites. Yeah, totally. Like, and one of my favorite things there is the character Kerr Morven, who is like essentially like Aragorn, sort of, but like different like extrapolation of that character type. And
Hmm.
I feel like this book you have like 10 Aragorns. Like you have 10 characters who are all like really like just solid like people who are like up against these like extremely these huge challenges and there's like an external and internal conflict. They're kind of mirrored and they like break through it each and every time, but it's always satisfying every time. It's not like doesn't come across as like a Mary Sue sort of thing or whatever you'd call it. Like
Hmm.
where it's like, oh, you know, they're always going to win. Like you said in your review, so this for Sun Eater book with the gladiator arena and everything, how that whole setup, like the main character is going to get through, so there's no tension or anything,
Hmm.
and like somehow like even though I've seen the movies so many times, Lord of the Rings, I know like all these people are going to survive and make it to the end and carry the ring to Mount Doom. Somehow there's still tension there, and there's when they do like King Theoden specifically, like when he rises out of his lethargy from like the poison that Wormtongue's spitting into his ear all these years. He's When he breaks out of that, it's like it's just as satisfying as I feel like I could read it 50 times and it would still hit just as hard. Like you read it this fourth time, right? How did that moment sit for you?
Oh, man. Like, everything with Theoden gets more epic every read. Because first time I watched Lord of the Rings, like in theaters, when Theoden showed up in Two Towers, I was like, oh, this guy's so cool. And like,
Yeah.
I loved how they had like that transition of like old, haggard looking him to, young, him, current day him. Like, it was so cool. And like every read since, it just gets more epic. And there's a video I want to send you after you finish book three, actually, Return of the King, because it's Tolkien himself narrating a scene of Theoden giving a speech, and
Oh
it's
wow.
it's the most epic shit you will ever
Well, I gotta
see.
see that.
It's amazing. You got to read the book first because I don't want that moment spoiled. It's amazing, but everything Theoden is just amazing. And this read, like, he just feels just so epic. Like he's almost to the heights of Beowulf, even beyond Beowulf.
Mm.
Like in terms of like just impact, like to the sort of I don't know, like just in terms of impact, like Beowulf and Theoden, I think are the biggest sort of characters of that archetype. Like,
You were saying that correct me if I'm wrong. Were you saying that like Tolkien did like a translation of Beowulf at some point, or was
he
that another
did.
author?
Yes, he
Cool.
was the one who brought Beowulf to like modern English. He was the guy
Wow.
who translated it. So
Wow. When did he do that? Before or after Lord of the
it
Rings?
was before, I think, because he was a professor of languages as like his day job, and like Lord of the Rings was like his passion project that he just did on the side. And his son, after he did Lord of the Rings, he was just kind of working on the everything else for like 40 years, and yeah, I mean that's
Wow.
irrelevant, but yeah, it's like Tolkien, like Theoden definitely feels very inspired by Beowulf. Like just everything with Rohan feels very Viking. There's a little bit of Irish too from the Fall of Numenor. I think they
Mm.
talk about that a little bit.
No, I haven't. I'm only familiar with Beowulf from the movie that had Angelina Jolie in it,
I love that
um,
movie.
I thought it was awesome, especially the Angelina Jolie part. But I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
I really have like limited knowledge on like what that is. Is that movie like a good example of what the Beowulf story is, or is that just like a snippet of it, or is it like
that's the
too?
thing is that like I haven't watched it in so long, and like I read
Yeah.
Beowulf for the first time I think last October or the October before, or like in the fall, like I don't know, but recently I read it for the first time and I loved it, and I was remembering back to the movie, and a lot of what happened in the movie happens in the book, but I can't remember the ending of the book in the movie at all. So I don't know if they took out like the last half of it or not, because the last half of Beowulf is like older Beowulf. So
Mm,
and I don't
yeah.
remember older Beowulf in the
It's
movie.
been a while since I've seen it too. I think like there's the whole Grendel thing, right?
Hmm.
For a monster,
Yeah,
but
I
it's like
love
wolves.
Grendel. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So don't want to spoil it or anything. Not that it's like, it hasn't been like long enough, right? But
Yeah.
yeah. But back to Lord of the Rings, though. I mean, like it's
Yeah.
cool. It's cool. Theoden, clearly inspired by Beowulf, then, uh, so Faramir. See, he was the other
Hmm.
person who was kind of like really stuck out to me.
Oh yeah.
Just because he doesn't have like this really huge stretch that he's in the book for, but like I think it's because of like his brother in the previous book, and all that stuff. Like we understand the implications of this. We understand like what his reaction could like forgivably be. Like he could be like really pissed and blame Frodo and Sam for what happened. Like we eventually find that like no, his body like washed up from the river, and like he saw his brother's body there and everything, and but he was able to put all this stuff together, and then he says that line like I have it written down here: I would not take this thing if it lay by the highway. Like Frodo is all worried that like he's gonna want to take it. They've been hiding the fact that they have the ring, and he's like, oh, you have the ring? I want nothing to do with it. Keep it, please, for the love of God. And it's he's just like so solid of a person where it almost feels like, damn, why isn't he taking this thing to Mount
Hmm.
Doom? I feel like he probably would have got he would have speed run that shit, right?
Oh yeah. Well, that's a
um,
major point that the when the movies were coming out, that's what a lot of book fans were upset about was the depiction of Faramir because he's
yeah,
totally different in the movies. And for a long time, I did not care about Faramir in the movies until I read the books, and I was like, oh my gosh, like Faramir is night and day different. And I like both versions. I don't think one is better than the other. I prefer the book one, of course. But I really
that's the
love sort of just how deep his characterization is. He's very complicated. His relationship with his brother, like you said, and I love how just helpful he is to Frodo. Like, and I really hate
yeah.
that they changed that for the movies. I understand why they made it. So
It's been a while since I saw Two Towers. What is the difference with Faramir? What did they do different in the movies?
So
because that
he basically kidnaps Frodo and is like, I'm gonna bring the ring to my father because my father loved Boromir more, and this would be a gift fit for a king or something like that was the line.
mm,
So it's totally
wow, yeah,
different. I don't like that.
that's different.
Yeah,
Man, that's yeah, it's like fundamentally different.
yeah.
But yeah, I got to rewatch the movie here. It gives me a good reason. Once I
Hmm.
finish Return of the King, I'm gonna binge through all three of those.
Yeah, I would say do the extended cuts, like, because the
Oh yeah,
extended cuts are made for the book readers. There's a
yeah.
whole lot more book stuff in the
That's the
extended.
only option. Yeah, I think the last several times I have seen it, it's always been the extended cuts, just because.
Oh, really
I
nice.
mean,
Yeah.
there really is no other way, right? I mean, it's just if you're gonna go to Middle Earth, just go to Middle Earth, like really,
Spend every
really immerse
second you
yourself.
can.
Yeah. Um. So those two characters are the ones that stuck out to me. What are some ones that stuck out to you this read besides them?
So for me, I have a hot take. This is one that I've had for a long time about Lord of the Rings. I think I've told one or two other people, and people don't react as strongly as I think they will, but I think this is a hot take. I do not like Gollum as a character. I hate him. I can't stand him. Every second that he's there, I hate it. But that's because of how well Tolkien writes him. He is just fucking
Yeah,
annoying, despicable. He's pitiful. He's awful. I can't stand him. But the way that Andy Serkis performs him in the audiobook, he uses the Gollum voice, but then he'll like narrate, like just, as an
yeah,
audiobook guy. And the way that he will do like the dialogue of like the other characters talking about Gollum and his backstory or like something else, like it's so like humanizing. And I always wrote those moments off because I was very black and white on previous reads. So I was like, oh God, Gollum. Like the whole time he's just this, he's just a hurdle the whole time. He's just always in the way.
yeah,
And this read, I was finally like, I finally got it with Frodo, where he was like, I need to bear this responsibility because we have this shared history of the ring. We have similar experience, like all this stuff. And I was like, it kind of clicked for me this read, just all of that stuff, like all the interweavings between these characters and all that. Like I never liked Gollum. I love him. Like in the movies, he's really fun. He's entertaining. But in the books, anytime he shows up, this chapter is a slog. I feel like. But every read that I've had of this series, it gets a little easier. And this read, I finally got it. So I'm hoping on the fifth read, it's even better. So
yeah. Yeah, while you were explaining that, it made me like imagine like okay, what if I hadn't been familiar with Lord of the Rings at all, hadn't seen the movies and read this, and like what would be? I think like his like Tolkien's goal, his like aim when writing Gollum, like if I were to look at it from that perspective, would be something like trying to like lock your your experience in with Frodo's and like his hope to that Gollum will be like choose to be better. Like his empathy towards Gollum,
mhm.
like to help build like your empathy, because you see, oh, this is your hero character. This is your hero character and what they believe, so they must be correct. And so you as the reader, you should probably believe the same thing. And Sam, he's the one who's being kind of difficult. He's the one that's kind of being like kind of not putting much faith into Gollum,
Mhm.
even though you're told like verbatim, like, oh, you did all of this awful stuff, um, and he'll probably eat you if you're not careful. And
Literally.
literally, yeah, he's creepy in this one. He's
Oh
like
yeah.
really he's scary. He's a monster.
Oh yeah.
But I think that if I wasn't familiar with the series, like Sam would have initially come across as like over bearing or not paranoid but just
Hmm.
like of little faith, I guess. and
Yeah.
and then Frodo, like you're like, yeah, have some empathy, have some faith in people and their ability to change and to be better. But then of course, like Noah, we're shown that like no, this is more complex than that. Frodo isn't just the hero. He's Sam and Frodo are the heroes. Like it's split to where like Sam existing is what allows Frodo to stumble. Um, like, because if Frodo was doing this journey on his own, it would be so much more clear where it would just be like, yeah, vanquish whatever stands in his way and get to Mount Doom. But instead, it's like uh, he like falls in multiple ways, and Sam is always there to pick him up. And uh, and I think that like Gollum is sort of almost like Gollum's a really deep character, but he's also sort of like a mechanism of showing that he's like the just like you said, a hurdle for to trip up Frodo.
Hmm.
But it doesn't trip up Sam. He's like he's there to fix it all along, and so I think Sam was kind of like the thing I clung to that made it to where that portion of the story was like it flowed pretty naturally for me.
Hmm.
Um, so I ended up enjoying it. I did also take your advice and listen to some of the Andy Serkis reading
Hmm.
of it too,
Yeah.
and I was kind of like doing that, like I guess hybrid reading thing for
Oh.
certain parts, which was fun, and I don't do that much at all. I did that a bit to get through Wind and Truth, just as like a crutch,
Yeah.
but this
Yeah.
time it was for fun. It was like just because,
Hmm.
oh wow, this is awesome,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, I've
yeah,
never
I
tried that. I
enjoyed.
should. I have the entire Wheel of Time. Like, I should try that. And like Lord of the Rings, of course. And maybe I'll do that with Return the King. Try that.
Yeah, yeah, it's fun. It's fun. And then like Andy Serkis too, even like when I'm at work or whatever and like able to listen to it. Like the thing with audiobooks is like I have to be able to visualize the words on a page as I'm listening to it. Otherwise I'm not
Hmm.
picking up any of it. And
Yeah.
so I found it really easy to do that with Andy Serkis. I could just like close my eyes and just see, oh cool, that's the story right there. And it was a lot of fun. So thank you for that
Oh, you're
recommendation.
welcome.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's really interesting the things you said about Frodo and Gollum, because what I was thinking about while you were talking about that is that Frodo isn't just carrying the ring; he's also carrying every like thing that Gollum has fed into the ring and has caused with the
Mm.
ring. But the thing that really kind of shocked me this go around is how much more I was able to visualize the world, because I was constantly following like other like Tolkien pages, like the art pages of like Alan Lee and like people like that who worked on the movies. And so I was starting to get away from the movie imagery and was starting to see like the really magical kind of covers was very ethereal and has kind of that glow like the
Mm.
Alan Lee paintings. I mean, if you're unfamiliar, go on Google Images, type his name in and Tolkien. You'll see some great stuff. I mean, I'll have it as a thumbnail, but it's really kind of fascinating, like how much more the world opened up for me, just beyond the movies this go around. So the more times I read it, the more familiar I get, and the more I can focus on the even more minute details. And I just finished Fall of Numenor like a week or two ago, which gave me a lot of
Yeah.
answers about like the timeline between Numenor, which is where Aragorn and his family is from, the Dunedain, the longer living humans. That was given by the elves way back in the day. Well, not by the elves, but by the god of Middle Earth. They gave elves immortality, and they gave some humans, the Dunedain. They were like, yeah, you guys are okay. We'll give you some immortality. And that's where Aragorn gets his. So that's something I always forget is that Aragorn's like 80 or something. And he's still like a
Damn.
badass.
Damn. 80. That's yeah. I think I picked up on that in Fellowship at some point, and but I've already like forgotten about that just because
Hmm.
he does not come across as 80.
Yeah. Because like Aragorn's a character who I've always loved. He's always been like a top three character for me. Him, Gandalf, and like Sam. Uh, like Aragorn is just such a badass, and he gets more badass with every read. Because he just gets more and more just like he has like he has it all, I guess. Like he's an herbalist, he can make medicine, he's a badass, swordsman, he's a badass archer, like he has everything. He's a great leader. He has really great qualities, like all this stuff. And like he so easily transitions, I feel like, because at the end of Fellowship of the Ring, the fellowship, falls apart And then he goes with Legolas and Gimli into Rohan, chasing after the orcs, and he just seamlessly does that. Like, so I always enjoyed that. So
Yeah, I've been just like immersing myself just now. You brought up the Alan Lee art, and
mm-hmm.
I did Google it, and it's oh my God, like
Yeah.
that's pretty amazing. Like it really gives you that, like you were saying earlier about how like it make these characters feel real, and
Mm-hmm.
just looking at this art, it really gives me a completely different perspective on these books. All of a
Yeah.
sudden, like the way he's like drawing the characters, especially like it really feels like even more steeped in myth. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's wow. This is like, man. I wish I knew about these earlier. These are cool.
Oh yeah, like, and the books that came out like when I was a kid, they had the Alan Lee like covers, and like that's
Hmm.
what I knew, and it was so magical seeing that because they didn't have the movie covers yet on the posters when I saw them. So like I
Yeah.
looked at them and I was like, whoa, like what is this? Like seeing the elves and how magical like the use of color was, like it was really cool, very iconic.
Very much fantasy, but like in a yeah, like there's like substance to it for sure.
Yeah,
Um,
and one thing I wanted to ask you to jump to a new discussion point
yeah.
is this book had a totally different POV structure compared to the last book. This is split right down the middle, like all of the characters in part one, all of the rest of the characters in part two. Like, what did you think of that? Did you know of that going in? I don't know if I warned you or not, but what was your reaction to
No.
that? And did you enjoy that? Like, was that a fun experience?
Yeah.
Or yeah, tell me
Yeah, I
about it.
think I like cracked open the table of contents and like saw like I just looked at the chapter titles are like very like clear on like what happens there,
Mm-hmm.
and like it took me a second to realize like, oh my God, oh, they totally split these completely. And um it's different than I was expecting for sure. I enjoyed it though. I think that like like pretty much any other author, any other fantasy author would use like the tension to their advantage, and
Mm-hmm.
like jump back and forth between this one to this one like every
Mm-hmm.
other POV, which is like usually what you want to do to like retain that suspense, and have like almost like like any like third act in any movie. Like
Mm-hmm.
we were talking about Star Wars a little earlier. Like if you look at any of the Star Wars movies, it's like jumping between, you got the space battle, and then you got the people on the planet battling, and then you got the lightsaber battle, and you're jumping between all these things while John Williams' score is going crazy, and
Mm-hmm.
then and then every transition in the music is like another switch between the scene. You don't get that in this book. Like it's just one complete story and then one other complete story. They're almost completely separate, and there's like I think there's pluses and minuses to that for sure.
Yeah.
But I think that if like you're in it, like you're if you're once you're reading it, I think it works perfectly fine. I think the title Two Towers like fits it too, like thematically, because you have two towers. You have like almost like that's like the visual structure of the book. Like you like builds up this one, and then builds up that one completely separately. Um, and
Yeah.
I don't know. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. Like because one thing is I tend to like really efficient books.
Mm-hmm.
I if there's a book that's like a 10 out of 10 and it's 500 pages, and there's a book that's a 10 out of 10 and it's 200 pages,
Oh yeah.
um, I mean, isn't like doesn't that mean that like each page has like a higher value with the one that's 200 pages technically? Um, uh, I know that's not quite the way art works, right? Um, but
Yeah.
it makes you feel
It's
that way,
fun.
you know? 'Cause you're like you're investing time in a book every time you read it, and I felt like this one was really there's nothing about it that was long-winded. And as far as structure, like the thing that I like think about immediately is the Ent section, the whole Treebeard section. Um, I was warned that it was slow, that it was like a slow section.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I Google it, find people kind of complaining about like, oh, that's the part I always skip or whatever. Um, and I don't know. I think like it's in my review, I talks about it a little bit, but it's like uh, the fact that it slows down makes sense because the Ents have a different like temporal experience. Their experience in time is a lot longer. They're not limited to the span of a human life, and everything they do takes a really long time. And so we kind of get a taste of that in the chapter length itself. And so
Mhm.
I just feel like it's genius. And so like even if you take into account that one slow section, both these stories move at such a quick pace. Um, it's astounding how many modern fantasy authors who write like epic fantasy write in epic word counts for no reason, really. It's all just like bloat. And because like you look at what Tolkien did with Lord of the Rings, and like you look at this, like you have pretty much two separate books in this book,
Mhm.
and they're quick. They're not slow or anything like that, but they're massive. Like this is Middle Earth. This is Lord of the Rings. This is one of the biggest achievements in world building ever, and he doesn't need 1,000 pages to do that with every installment, right?
Yeah.
And I think that that's something that should be thought about more often, and praised more often. I think that it's just the structure and the length of it is like really impressive. It's insane that he was able to put that much information in that tight of a word count. It really is
Mhm.
like phenomenal.
Yeah, like I agree with everything you said. Like Tolkien was an absolute master, and like when you like, cause this year I really sat down and was like, I want to get into the supplemental material and really like dig deep into Middle Earth because I want to get really like when I hear a name, I want to know what that means, and like. As I have done that with each book, and I reread Lord of the Rings, and I read the next book, and I reread Lord of the Rings, like every go through Lord of the Rings, I like it's big jump in like enjoyment, and I this has always been one of my favorite series of all time, and so it's just like I just love this book and like the split of POVs. Like I've never thought about like having it be every other chapter they switch POVs or whatever because it
Yeah.
feels so natural to have it be structured that way. And the two towers
Yeah.
comment of it being literally two towers of how it was stacked up. Like, I love that. Like that was awesome, and I always enjoyed Aragorn and Legolas and all that, like in the movies more. But I feel like you get so much more, just like the Tolkienisms, I guess, in
Yeah.
the second half with
Mhm.
Treebeard and all the other trees because we don't get them in the movies, and a lot of them have
Right.
personalities and they talk and all this stuff, and we don't get any of that in the movies, which totally get. We have too much time already for the important stuff. So, but like that was something I never noticed before until this read was that the other Ents talk. Like that was something I never, yeah, caught up on. So.
Yeah, no, yeah, totally. That caught me off guard too. Is like just the fact that like yeah, the Ents are like you kind of see like their society as opposed to like just being like a plot device to mess up Saruman's uh, base of operations there,
Mm-hmm.
and but yeah, the Ents were really cool in this. I thought there's a lot more depth there, and like Merry and Pippin, they get to hang out with like a few different Ents. Like there's the one I can't remember his name, but he's the other Ents look at him as being like he rushes things, like he's
Oh yeah, it's
too
like Bluefoot
hot-headed.
or Blue Flight or
Yeah,
something like that. Yeah, I couldn't remember
yeah,
his name
yeah.
too, but yeah, like that character specifically, I never noticed before this read.
Yeah, I mean, it's like all these like little like there's like these nooks and crannies to the story that are just like really intriguing that say so much about like or like the main cast or like at least the most like the Treebeard too. Like it gives you like a perspective on like their relative experience in their domain, and it's yeah, I thought that was really cool. But like, what was Saruman? What are your thoughts on Saruman in the book compared to the movie?
Um, I do prefer him in the books. I love Saruman in the movies, but I think most of that is with the actor,
Yeah,
Christopher Lee. I love Christopher Lee. I mean, we talked about it
it kicks
before.
ass.
He's awesome. It doesn't bear repeating. I mean, it bears repeating, but yeah, in the books, he is amazing. He's a lot more layered. I love anytime he just starts unleashing lore. Like, I always love those scenes because he's always just like he gets really angry in the scene with Gandalf and everyone. This time, he just
Yes.
starts spouting off about blue wizards and stealing the crowns of the seven dead kings and stuff like that. And it's like,
Yeah.
I want to know more about that. Like, there's so much
Right.
like intrigue in every line. Like, and Saruman, I think, has the most intrigue. Like, I love him.
Yeah.
Like, his character is amazing.
Yeah, Tolkien. That's a really great thing to bring up there because like it's like Tolkien used that as like as a means of getting you to like the villain. You know, as a reader, you're
Hmm.
like, oh, this is the source of information right now. It's gone not from Gandalf. Like Gandalf usually is the source of information. He's the one you get all the
Hmm.
stuff from in Fellowship. You get the info dumps there. But now it's Saruman and the other like white wizard who happens to be the evil bad guy, and
Hmm.
he but like yeah, it's like meanwhile like you want to see him defeated and everything, and he's this jerk and he's having this powerful negative impact on everyone else, but at the same time you're like you said, like, oh, I want to know more. Keep talking. Like
Yeah.
you, just like those characters are being
Hmm.
manipulated. They want to hear him keep talking
Yeah.
until Theoden first tells him to screw off, and then Gandalf tells him to screw off, and cut through his lies,
Hmm.
and then all that like build up of making Saruman cool. It's like all that uh, all, all that investment there is instead like transferred back to Gandalf and back to Theoden. It's like it's something about that just was like freaking magic. The way he spun that all together, and only now am I like realizing what happened there. And
Hmm.
it's yeah, that whole scene that was like my favorite sequence in the book for sure.
So, what do you think of the Palantirs? Because that's something that is talked about a little bit in the movies. It's those orbs that Sauron and Saruman see
Right.
through. There's seven of them. Fall of Numenor, the book I just read, goes into all of that, into the whole history of them. So I know a whole lot more about it. I recommend that book. But the basic history is that there's a lot of them still floating around. And there's four of them missing. There's three known. So one of these Saruman has. Sauron has one, and the other third one we don't know. So, but one thing I
Yeah.
wanted to ask you is, Saruman does not die. I don't know if you noticed that he dies at this
Right.
moment in the movies, at this showdown between him, Theoden, Gandalf, Aragorn, all of them. But that doesn't happen in the books. Do you know what happens? Are you familiar? This is something I've wondered.
Once again, yeah, it's been a while since I saw Two Towers, so I wasn't sure what to expect there. But I did assume he was going to die, and then he didn't die. Um, but it's still like just because the way the book was flowing, it made sense to me. So it wasn't something I even like questioned. It really didn't pop into my head when we got to that point where it closed
Hmm.
out. Um, but I prefer that because it leaves him as like this question mark. It's like, oh, he's sort of powerless. He's
Yeah.
checkmated. He's checkmated at this
Mm-hmm.
point, right? And because like he can't depend on Sauron, because like his what is it like his pretty much his failure in this is going to kind of like wind up biting him, or and then he
Mm-hmm.
can't really he can't go to the good guy's side because he believes that Sauron's going to win anyway, and so he feels like, oh, I'm aligned with the right person, but he's gonna kill me if I try and seek help
Mm-hmm.
from him or something. Uh, but the Palantirs, I do remember being intrigued by that. When he said it, I was like, Palantirs, and then he's like, oh, the mystical orb thing, and did that does that have to do with the Silmarillions at all? Do they connect to that at all in the book? I vaguely remember.
They're both made by
Um,
elves. I do know
hmm,
that. I don't think they have any relation to the Silmarils. But I haven't read Silmarillion. That's the next big one. I want to do that after Return of the King, is Silmarillion, and then I'll go back through Lord of the Rings again. That's how I'm doing Lord of the Rings. That's how I'm doing Middle Earth. I'll just keep going through. Yeah.
I might have to join you for that one once we get to that point too, just because now I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's gotten me curious about like the greater worlds for sure.
Oh yeah, me
Um,
too. Like, cause I've been reading all these other stories because I'm trying to get familiar with the names because that's the thing that everyone wants
yeah,
about for Silmarillion's the names. So
yeah, the names. I do have a hard time with names in books in general. Uh,
same.
yeah, and these ones are especially difficult for sure.
Oh yeah.
um,
So another
anything in
thing
particular?
for me that I wanted to ask related to the perspective, because we talked about the first half, the second half, Frodo and Sam. We end at after Shelob, which is like the middle of the
Right.
third movie. What was your
Yeah.
reaction to that? How did you feel going so far into the third movie in the second book?
Well, once again, because of the table of contents, I knew we were going there.
Yeah.
But uh, it did create sort of this like not confusion, but like I did sort of remember that it occurred in Return of the King and not the Two Towers. Um, but I was like kind of questioning it myself because I couldn't quite like even now I can't quite remember what the hell Sam and Frodo even do in Two Towers. I think isn't it just sort of like a transitionary kind of thing, like where they're
There's a whole lot of
just
walking.
it's a whole lot of walking.
Through
Yeah,
very bad landscapes.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, and I love those landscapes too. I mean, like a lot of the settings described here are really like that's one thing that I think that that the films did great. And yeah, Sam in particular, once again, like I mean, he's such a badass. Like he's going up and fighting off Smeagol and then putting on. So he does put on the ring in the movies. I don't remember that happening.
every time I watch it, it's kind of implied because he carries it like to Frodo, just like in the books.
Right.
But I don't remember him putting it on because
Me
they
neither.
would have shown his eye and the zoom in, like cool
Right.
effects and stuff. I don't remember that. And I watch it every
Yeah.
year. I would have been like, yeah, instantly if
Okay.
I
So my
like if
memory
it
isn't
happened. So
my memory's not that shot then. Cool. Because yeah, I was like,
yeah.
what the hell? I was not expecting Sam to do this, and he has it on for like a while, like way longer than Frodo ever had it on,
hmm
as far as I know.
And he's right
And
there. I mean, yeah, it kind of breaks the law, but
I think it's awesome. I love
yeah, I
it.
don't think about it. It was awesome. Like, I mean, Tolkien has always said in interviews that, like, well, not interviews, like he was interviewing, but in letters, he would say Sam is the main character. And this
Yeah, I
book,
see
he
it.
really comes forward as the main character.
That's cool. So he's stated that then.
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
he's a
That's
true
yeah, it's a
hero,
hundred
is the
percent.
exact words. He's the hero of the story.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that the films almost got that right.
hmm
I think like they didn't quite get it right because Frodo still feels like the hero at the end, and Sam still feels like the helper at the end,
Yeah.
even though like through his actions, he's the active one and he's the one doing all this stuff,
hmm
but he does kind of seem like best buddy who's willing to sacrifice himself instead of being like the center character there. And but in the book, like you can really tell, yeah, he really
hmm
is. He's the protagonist, close to the protagonist as we get here, right?
hmm
And he's protagging. He's pushing the book forward.
yeah.
He's the one getting him to the end. And Frodo, I mean, he's great. He's a great character. Um, but I love that. It's almost like the more I think about it, the more it really does seem like both Frodo and Sam are the same character, but just kind of split in half.
hmm
Where because they're split, one of them can adopt these certain failings that if they were alone would have made the journey impossible,
hmm
um, and thereby put Sam in the position to show a certain level of strength that wouldn't have been possible otherwise. And I think that that's like the I don't know that's the he's one of the coolest characters in all of fantasy I've ever come across. I think he's so awesome.
hmm Yeah, I agree though. And one thing that like popped out at me on previous reads. Not so much this read because I've already had this revelation, but also just how funny Merry and Pippin are in the books. Because
Yes,
I like
hilarious.
some of the stuff in the movies, like the rascals, the little rascals, but just how funny they are, like the jokes they drop is just so funny. And like I just love the scene. They do it wonderfully in the movies too. In the extended cuts of them arriving at Isengard and they're just like drinking and eating a
Right.
ham and Gimli is like, "What? Salted pork?" Like, what are y'all doing? We've
Oh
been
yeah.
fighting our asses off, you know.
That was hilarious. Yeah, that made me laugh out loud. That whole sequence there with like, oh yeah, and then I remember like them just recounting everything too.
Hmm.
Like I remember wondering like, is there a plot hole here? Did you forget to write something here? Because there was that whole thing about like, oh, they haven't referenced seeing Gandalf after they thought Gandalf died, and
Hmm.
then and then all of a sudden they bring it up. They're like, oh yeah, we saw him earlier.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Like no big deal. Like Gandalf is busy in this.
Oh yeah.
We got to talk about Helm's Deep too. Helm's Deep. Can't go
My
without
personal
touching on
favorite
that.
battle of the books, not of the movies. I have a different favorite battle in the movies, but
It was intense. It was
mhm.
like I was really surprised to see it in a single chapter. But like I do think it was such an interesting reveal to have like Gandalf like, oh, he did this, but also he did many other things.
Mhm.
Like he's just like a magician, like doing sleight of hand, and uh, and then one thing that really surprised me there was of course that difference with the I can't remember what they're called. They're like ants. They're like between ants and trees, sort of.
Yeah, I don't remember the.
Yeah,
That's something I need to like really pay attention to on the next read.
like they were the ones kind of picking off all the orcs as they ran off into
Hmm.
the back into the forest, and I guess they're like similar to ants. That was really cool. I didn't realize there was like another Middle Earth race that was like similar to ants. Like
Hmm.
that just makes everything seem like more vast. Like it gets you to wonder. Oh, wonder if there's anything like dwarves or if there's anything
Hmm.
like elves, but not quite that. And yeah, it's that was really interesting. The battle itself too. You get some. Uh, I mean, there wasn't any shield surfing, no shield surfing. So,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. I had a doc, the book of point. Yeah,
yeah, got it got yeah, it's a 9 out of 10.
yeah. Near perfect. It's yeah,
Near
near.
perfect. You need to have Legolas blasting off some
Yep.
arrows while riding that shield. I mean,
Exactly.
what was
Exactly.
Tolkien thinking?
I know. Like what the hell. But yeah, I
Yeah,
loved the two towers on the Swede.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it really is a pretty fantastic book. I can see why why Two Towers is your favorite, and I wasn't expecting to like it as much as Fellowship, but I like it more than Fellowship. I can see
Hmm.
why people lean towards that. Just it's not just because it has more action or Fellowship is slower or whatever. It's just because like the strong points of this book are really strong. Um, and yeah, if oh here's something fun.
Hmm.
So I also did hear that like uh, Tolkien regretted the name The Two Towers. He wished he would have called
Hmm.
it something else, and he even said like what he wished he would have called it. I think, but I forget what it is. But in your opinion, if you couldn't call it The Two Towers, what would you call this book?
Hmm. That's a great question because like I love this type of stuff. Like um, Race to
And
the
it connects.
Shadow, maybe something like that. Like Race into the
What
Shadow
was
of
it?
Mount Doom. Race to the
Oh
Shadow.
yes, that's cool. Oh, I like
Yeah,
that.
I think the original name, because as you were talking about, it, I couldn't remember, but I think his original name was going to be like War of the Ring or something like that.
Hmm.
Something like I'm probably wrong on that, but like it was something like that. War of the Ring or Battle for
Yeah, I
Middle
think
Earth, something like that.
something like Lord of the Rings 2 Electric Boogaloo or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'd think like if we're going with like Fellowship of the Ring, maybe something
Hmm.
like breaking of the Fellowship or something, or
Yeah.
but they kind of already happened in the first one. But yeah, that was just an interesting thing to think about. Like,
It is, yeah.
what is the true name of this book? Like, um, I like Two Towers. I like
Yeah.
the name. It invokes this idea but I always constantly find myself like every once in a while when I forget the answer, I'll look up like what are the two towers? Which towers is he talking about? And
Yeah.
like what was like um the Sauron's tower, and then
Baladur
yeah,
or
and then like
Baladur. Yeah.
the Morgul one, or Cirith Morgul? No,
So the two
what's the other one?
towers are Sauron's tower and Saruman's. It's the two fronts
Okay,
of the war. So
two bad guy towers.
yeah. So, but there's also the idea that it could be like Cirith and the other
Right.
one, which I forgot the name of, but
Minas
Minas Tirith or
Tirith?
something like
Does
that.
that one have a tower?
Hmm?
Cool. That one has a tower. I can never remember
Yeah.
which ones have towers. Like as
Oh
a
yeah.
kid, my interpretation was the Eye of Sauron and
Hmm.
and Helm's Deep itself. Like I assumed that must be it. And it was like the two towers are battling or whatever.
Yeah.
And I don't know, but
So one thing that I
yeah,
want to really note is something I noticed and really try to focus on is the imagery of Sauron this read, because he does not have
right.
that big eye in the books. The
Oh,
reason why it's described as a big eye is because he is a big red figure like a flame, and like the
right.
horizon is super black and it's like an eyeball, whereas like the slit is Sauron, and the rest of the eye is the horizon. And so
Oh,
it's just supposed to be like this Lovecraftian, like existential, like hallway type
I
of
didn't
thing.
pick up on that.
Like every time Frodo puts on the ring, that's what he sees. He sees this, ominous figure and this big eyeball. It's kind of like a Cthulhu, looking at you.
It has like the shape of an eye, but it's not literally an eye like it is in the
Yeah,
movies.
and I love that interpretation. I love both of them. Like I love how literal it is
Yeah,
in the movies, but like that's something because I always see in the artwork that he is like an angel, creature, and he is an angel. I mean, he is the same as
hmm.
Gandalf, Saruman. He's of the Maiar, so which is the
I thought that
angels.
was.
So
I'm ignorant. I'm ignorant, but I was based on some old like YouTube videos I looked at several years back when I was curious. There was so you have Sauron, but then you have the guy. He was kind of
he was like
uh,
the lieutenant
the
of
protege.
Morgoth. Yeah,
Yeah, it's like more.
Morgoth is
I
like
was
the
under the
super
impression.
big bad. Yeah.
Yeah, like Morgoth was the. I've heard bits and pieces about like the underlying lore, like how the universe itself is like this place that started off with these like creatures that would sing, and their
Hmm.
song created like Middle Earth and all the stars and everything,
Yeah.
and and then Morgoth was the one who had like the dissonant tones that he was throwing in, which ended up becoming all of these like dark things, like the trolls and all that stuff.
The
And
dragons he created
the
through that.
dragons, yeah.
Ungoliant, Shelob's mother, was created that way.
Mm. That's like the origin of like evil was just his like dissonant notes, and I thought
Hmm.
that was awesome.
Yeah,
And then
like
Sauron, I assumed was like started off as like a dude, like just like a I don't know, human or whatever race he was, like elf or whatever. I have no idea, but was uh, like came into this power due to his connection to Morgoth in some way. I'm truly ignorant about this, as you can see, um, but yeah, I'm interested to get into some of these like Silmarillion and all that stuff because I want to figure this out. I want to see what the hell's occurring here.
yeah, me too. Because the Fall of Numenor was Second Age, which covers a lot of Sauron, but it doesn't do anything with Morgoth. And I was like,
Mm.
like I want to know more about Morgoth. Like that's the last major figure I want to read about, and then I want to focus on the elves, which is a huge cast of characters. But I love Fall of Numenor. That's basically like the Sauron book, the backstory of
Mm.
him. Like from the moment Morgoth gets expelled into the Nether, which is what his fate is. He gets thrown into like a pocket universe of like emptiness, just nothing, which is
Mm.
quite the fate. I love it. It's very epic, very Viking, I guess. But yeah, I love that book. I highly recommend
I'm gonna have to
it.
give that a read here at some point once we get through this trilogy.
Oh
Still got to
yeah,
read The Hobbit at some point too, I guess.
yeah. Hobbit's great. Yeah, I'll join you on a discussion that. That's
Yeah,
like an
I've heard
afternoon
it's
read. It's a short book, so.
hmm, heard it's for like younger
Mm-hmm.
readership.
Yeah, it's like 180 pages, I think, and it's like big type,
Wow,
font, So,
nice, easy one to put on the list for sure.
oh yeah,
It's another one to tally. Um, Man, so yeah, this is a great book, and I'm excited to get
mm-hmm.
into Return of the King here
Oh
very
yeah.
soon. Um,
What is
any
some of your
any
expectations and sort of questions you have going into Return of the King?
okay, yeah. So after Fellowship, I was under the impression that there'd be like almost no differences between the films and the books, but this one surprised me most of all with like Sam putting on the ring and stuff. So I am happy to say that I don't know what to expect with Return of the King. There might be some significant differences, and there might not be. But either way, even if there isn't, I still feel like uh, Tolkien's like skill with the craft. It's going to be like an experience either way. Um, I'm but I am sort of expecting to be surprised in certain ways. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, like Sauron specifically, I think since he's not the eye in this, right? I'm curious like how that's going to be handled. If there's going to be some differences with like physically when it comes to Sauron, like how that's going to be portrayed. But yeah,
Awesome. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it because after this book, I'll probably jump into Silmarillion. You're welcome to join me. It'll be a while. We'll keep in touch with that. I'm not
yeah,
rushing to go into that, but I'm very excited to see what you think of Return of the King. It's been
oh
very
yeah,
fun to kind of see like the series from a news perspective. Because first time I read the series was in ninth grade. After
yep.
watching the movies every year for a very long time since theaters or whatever. And there's just so much like to unpack from Return of the King, and like I love this book. I love the series. I don't usually take breaks between the books. I usually just go straight through. So it's been a very interesting sort of experience going through kind of like one book and then waiting like a month or two, do another book, waiting a month or two. Because
Yeah.
I usually do it like the day I finish it, the next day I start the next one.
Oh
And
yeah.
like there's no gap and there's no like, so I've always thought of it as like a complete, book, like because I have it in a one giant book volume. So
Yeah, I'm sorry if my
no, this
weird
is great.
patterns have thrown you off, man. Because
No, this is
no,
fine. I'm
you're
not. Yeah, that was not supposed to be like a negative thing or
no,
anything.
no.
Yeah.
I do have noticed about myself. I have like this weird thing where like any series, like trilogy or anything like that, I tend to like, especially books I really like. I
Mm-hmm.
will I will prolong reading the next one for some reason. I don't know why. It's like I don't know. Like the only series I haven't done that with is Book of the New Sun. It's the only
Oh yeah.
one that I've like just gone one after the other with. Every other book, like Neuromancer, I love
Mm.
Neuromancer, but I read like maybe like 4 or 5 books in between each of those at the very least. Or
Mm-hmm.
more than that, definitely.
Yeah.
Like
But yeah, I'm excited for the next
man,
one. If you're still watching, thank you all so much for watching, and let us know what you think about this book if you've read it. If not, go read it. This is one of the best
go
of
read
all
it.
time. So
I I've put it off for a long time. Don't make the same mistake as me. Just go ahead and read it. It's important. They're as good as the hype uh, promises.
oh yeah.